enable share screen. Have you opened, everyone, please open the files that I sent in the GC. So the first one, which was what we were talking about, was the ice-breaking script. So it was just a notepad. Then all you needed to do is deliver this ice-breaking script for the warm-up page. So you're going to do this for approximately, may mga machika kasing students, so minsan maabot ng 7 minutes, but max. Okay, it has to be max because you'll be needing more time in answer correction, which is here is 20 to 25 minutes. That's the time that you correct the student's answer. So while you are doing the warm-up, while you're doing this is your script. Just deliver this verbatim. So towards the end, what we're talking about with Teacher JR was that this is the current score. Let's say I already took my first IELTS exam. So you can ask what was the speaking score. So dito mo siya encode. And this is the target score. And this one is very important because the date that you encode here, let's say I don't have a plan on taking the exam yet. So if the trial class is today, that is January 14, then, and I still don't have the date for my IELTS exam, you can date this 1 month later so that it can generate a plan. The plan is like how long should a student study with you? That's the course plan. So we were talking about the answer correction, right? I mentioned that these ones are clickable. And after the answer correction, what's important here, Teacher JR, remember, this is my answer. You need to give me feedback on the first 2 minutes on my original answer before you even teach me the PREC method. Okay. And before you even start with the PREC method, which you click here, this is the teaching material. Go there. And then this is the PREC method is here, what I click. So that's point, reason, example, and conclusion. Again, in part 1, conclusion is optional because this one is just 30 seconds. So 2 to 3 sentences is fine, or sometimes even 2. Okay, so before you even begin to teach the PREC method, you must correct my original answer as to sentence structure, wrong tenses, maybe some words that aren't properly used, or maybe the words are all there, all correct, but you must upgrade it so that I can achieve my target score. Let's say my target score is 7. So you must give me some very good advanced words related to our topic. Okay. So in part 2, Teacher JR, this one, you can copy from here and paste this in a notepad so that during the part 2, it's easy to share in the chat. What I usually do is I copy and paste that in the notepad ahead of time. So either you can get it from here or you can get it from, let's go back here, menu. Or you can get it from here. You see that there's part 2 here. It's easier to copy here. You can also get it from here. Remember that you cannot type here. You can only type in answer correction part here. Okay. So again, I go to part 2, and if I don't see the save button, you need to adjust here. Zoom in, zoom out, right? You see that there's typing already there. And then when it's the time for student to answer, they will answer in part 2 in 2 minutes. But again, in your demo, you can type, but no need to really get all of it because you will not correct here. Okay. So, and this is part 3. It looks like this. It's 1 minute naman in part 3. Okay. Make sure the student can see the question. Yep. Like that.
Do I need to give scores while?
Not while you're doing the answer correction. You will do this for 20 to 25 minutes. You will give scores at the end of that, which is here. So this is now the band score feedback. As you can see, there's also a timer here. You'll do it for 5 minutes. And what's important here, when you did the scoring in part 2, right? You gave the student 1 minute to prepare. You did the scoring here. It looked like this. Yung score na yan, magge-generate dito. Band score feedback.
So for 1 minute, I
6.5.
will give scores, Miss Marie.
Yeah, scoring. Di ba sabi ko, let's say you haven't finished, Teacher JR. Before you even share the screen here, when you ask, hey student, which one do you think is the most difficult part? Then I'd be expressing a lot because students are always nervous. Most of the time they're nervous. So while they are expressing that, tsaka ka pumunta dito. Kasi hindi ka pa naman mag-share screen eh. You're just asking which one is the most difficult part. Diyan ka na mag-adjust. And then, oh, so it's part 3 which is difficult? Share screen. Dito na. Answer correction, 20 to 25 minutes. Oh, is it part 1? Because there are lots of questions. Kunwari lang. Ganon. Yeah. See? So, but approximately you can do the scoring 1 minute. 1 minute. Yeah. So what I usually do is on the 55th minute, I go back already to answer correction because I just gave the student 1 minute to prepare, right? I have to go back to part 2 here and continue to type. But again, you don't need to get all of it. And also, if the worry is the typing, you can get maybe what you wanted to correct. Let's say grammar, or let's say repetitions. So focus on that, some keywords or whatever it is that you can get. And then whatever it is that you type, correct from there. You get it? Teacher JR, nakuha mo yung strategy?
Yes, TM.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to band score, how do you do this? So again, whatever you did in the scoring, it will generate here in the overall score. You start with your overall score is 6.5. And then remember, the sequence is start from the strength. Hindi mo siya i-combine. So if you can see here, the strength is yung pinakamataas, 7, 7. So the strength start to discuss this, fluency and coherence and lexical resource. And then weakness, yung mas mababa, 6 and 6. So what you need to do here is, let's say since this is the strength, right? So you can say, oh, you were able to speak at length. You see that your answers are blah, 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 bahala ka na. So what is here? You can also treat this like a Word file wherein you can put some highlights on your notes that you will leave for your student. Because why do you have to type here? It's because I'm an IELTS student and your corrections will be here. Whatever it is that we discussed, let's say in part 3, the corrections are here. So you can also make some highlights. Let's say you improved my original answer. So ang magre-reflect dito, original answer, dapat dito improved answer. So how did you improve my answer based on my original? So this one is the original. So that at the end of our class, I can always go back to the notes. And then what's important here is you use your tools here so that you can put there, okay, this is what I added to my student's answer. This is what I improved, as you can see in the class notes. So use the tools. The same with the band score. So if this is the strength, you can say you were able to blah, blah, blah. So whatever it is that your student, based on the performance, let's say there were a lot of connectors was excellent. So you were able to use this and that and then type that just and highlight that and make it bigger because this one is probably too small. So here kasi it says use more linking words. So whatever it is on the performance, what you need to put here are exact examples on what you are discussing. If this is the strength, that's what you put there. So it was great that you mentioned some of these connectors. So type it here and then highlight that. Okay. And then in the lexical resource, your vocab, the use of these words, click and then type what are the words that the student mentioned that are great so that they have an idea. Oh, the use of this less common vocabulary can make me achieve my target score, which is 7. And right now, my score is only 6.5. If I research more on these words, then I can achieve my target score. See that? And also, there's a minimum words that you need to type here. It's 10 words per category. Okay, and going here, if this is the weakness, then you can say, okay, I noticed that some of your tenses are quite wrong, so be very careful with, let's say, past tenses and all that. And then also there were some sentence structures that were kind of complicated, so you break it down to maybe making some compound sentence or complex sentence by doing this. So you teach now how to make a compound or complex sentence by putting here maybe an example in this part. So here in the pronunciation, maybe you can mention some of the mispronounced words or maybe the wrong word stress that the student mentioned in the class. Put here specific examples and highlight. So that's it. Save and go to course plan. In the course plan, you can see here, you will just mention your mock test score is 6.5 and your target score is 7 or 7.5. So you see that in the warm-up, you put there the date of the IELTS exam. So the preparation time, as you can see here, is 390. But don't you worry, this is just system generated. So as you can see here, we can have a class every other day, approximately 1 to 6. That's too low, 1 to 6. So let's say approximately X amount of classes, because I don't know what was encoded here. This is 2024, November 2024. Let's say I change this to, because this one has bearing in the course plan. It's more, you see it's more. So maybe it's too long from the time they had the IELTS score, the IELTS exam, the IELTS test. So that's why the generated time that the student will study with the teacher is a lot. So two classes per day, that's a lot, right? Anyway, Whatever was generated here, you can just say that it's system generated, and you can just read it, whatever will appear here. So I would like you to choose, if you will click this, don't click in the circle, click in the box. So you can say our practice mode will be a combination. It can be a combination of part 1 and 3, or sometimes 1 and 2, depending on what you prefer. And then sometimes we can do independent topic teaching, just like all part 2 or all part 1 or all part 3. And then in part 2, we'll usually do independent topic teaching. And as you get advanced, that's when we will choose merging topics. And then click confirm. This will later on generate the material for the classes if the student enrolled in your class. Then for the homework, you can see here that the student can just contact the TA or teacher assistant or teacher consultant so that they can get hold of their band score report, diba BSR, that's band score report, and also they can preview the next class. That's just few seconds. And then how do you finish? You save and complete, and then confirm. You see, if there's a pop-up, it says here, scoring hasn't finished yet. Or sometimes may pop up na band score because maybe the teacher just typed few words, then babalik ka sa band score and accomplish it more, fill it up more. So you go, scoring hasn't finished yet. Okay, scoring, go back there. Maybe merong hindi na click. You see dalawa to. So remove the other one, click one. Remove the other one, one. Dalawa ang naka-click. Isa lang dapat ang naka-click. 6, 6, 6, 6. Okay. And then save. You see, 5.5, pag tinignan mo dito, overall score 5. Teacher JR, do you have questions?
Yes, TM. About the course plan,
Hmm.
do we always need to follow like that combination, independent topic teaching all the time?
Yes.
We're gonna click that
Yes.
all the time.
You will only choose merging topics. If you're almost done, right? You will do the merging topics in part 2 if the student is advanced, because it's a combination of 2 to 3, part
Yeah,
2.
but in the demo class, we're just gonna click those 3, right?
That's just, yeah, just 3.
Okay.
So our practice mode, yun lang, babasahin mo lang yan. Our practice mode will be a combination. So combination ng parts. You get it? Any other question? From the other teachers, do you have questions?
None so far, TM. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm moving to quickly to the files that I've sent. Let me open that. Will be done soon. So is this issue? Okay, the files that teacher JR mentioned uh, are these ones. So this is the IELTS script. When you do the full mock test, di ba warm up, tapos full mock test, this is your script. Ang pangalan niya is IELTS Quick Guide. So ayan na, warm up 4 to 5 minutes, full mock test 11 to 14 minutes. You see part 1 has 3 topics tapos several questions. Part 2, one topic, and part 3, one topic, but 4 questions. Answer correction, 20 to 25 minutes. Plans for feedback, 4 to 5 minutes. Course plan, 3 minutes, and then few seconds for homework. Then warm up. Again, I mentioned don't share the screen. I'm sharing the screen only because I want you to see what I'm clicking there. So you have what you need to do in the warm up is deliver the ice breaking script, which is in the notepad. And then no need to deliver all this long line here. What you need to mention was that if the student hasn't taken the IELTS, you just have to mention 1 or 2 sentences about the IELTS speaking test. You can just go to the second part after the warm-up to say there are several questions in part 1, and these are personal questions, just 30 seconds each. And then part 2, you'll be given 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak. And then part 3, it's a more generalized questions related to part 2, and it's more abstract. Okay, so that's it. You don't need to mention all this. So what I wanted you to be more familiar will be here, section 2. It will be the full mock test. Don't share the screen. The blue ones here, when you start the full mock test, you will say, we'll be doing the full mock test like the real exam. I need to make sure time spent on each part is appropriate like this, as is, verbatim. So don't worry if I stop you, it's normal in the real exam. So, makita mo na, right? Share screen. Hindi ka pa pala nag-share screen. You say, I'd like to start by asking you some questions about yourself. So navigate ka na dun sa mga questions. And then type. Type and save. Type and save. And then, let's move on to send the part 2 question in the chat box. Then you will say, now I'm going to give you a topic I'd like you to talk about for 1 to 2 minutes, and then deliver all the slide. Send the topic in chat box. I'd like you to describe, and then mag 1 minute note taking na siya. Teacher, you go to finish the scoring for 1 minute. Then, pagkatapos na ng scoring, go back to the website and say you have 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when 2 minutes is up. Can you start speaking now, please? Type ka ng part 2. Hindi ka magda-demo dyan, ha? So, no need to finish lahat ng sinabi ni teacher. Kasi magda-demo ka with the teacher. Part 3. So, we've been talking about ano yung topic nyo sa part 2. Yun yung pinag-usapan nyo, right? Now, I'd like to ask some more general questions related to this. So, 4 questions. Yeah, 4 questions. Tigwa 1 minute each, and then type. Save. Pagtapos na, thank you. This is the end of the speaking test. So, since there were several topics and several questions, all you needed to say thank you. That's fine, thank you. Sorry, I'm afraid we ran out of time for this section. Yun lang ang sasabihin mo. Don't say anything else like, great, well done. Walang ganon. Okay? So answer correction, you will do this for 20 to 25 minutes. This is the time that you share the screen. Okay? So, well done on completing your mock test. How do you feel about the test? Ito na yun. And then what you will do, you will correct the errors of your student and then upgrade the content. Ito na yun. So, what teacher JR said, you won't still be using the IMF method. You will just use the PREC method. Yeah, and briefly, what is the PREC method? It's actually in the website. Since we're talking about that already. Teacher JR, Teacher JR, are you there?
STM, yes,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sharing the screen now, and as you see, this is the answer correction, right? So let's say I finish. Thank you for, this is the end of our speaking test. So let's say, ito yung i-click nyo, teacher, teaching material. Let's say you will teach the PREC method already. Can you start to teach? Can you try?
Now,
Yeah.
uh,
How do you present the PREC?
okay, hold on for a second.
Or do you want to share your screen?
All right, damn, hold on.
Because I will ask you to do your demo if you can already. Because you're done with your training, demo na lang ang kulang. Then you can start soon.
I will just try po,
Yeah.
what I
No
watch.
problem.
Okay. Let me start sharing my screen. And then I'm gonna ask the student if the student see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Teacher Millie, what's your name? Millie something?
Millicent May po.
Yeah. Can you be the student? Teacher
Yeah, sure.
JR, you can speak with Teacher Millie.
So I'm gonna ask, I mean, it's answer method correction or it's a mock test or what, Miss Marie?
The mock test has been done, finished. Thank you. This
Mhm,
is the end of our speaking test. This is the
mhm.
time that you share screen, correct? You will ask your student, which part is the most difficult part? Pipili si Teacher Millie, and then you will do 2-minute answer correction on the original answer, and then teach PREC.
So I'm gonna pretend that teacher Millie already made answers, right?
Correct. What you can see there.
Mm. Oh, there's already some questions here answered here.
Yeah, because this one is a test page. Some teachers already use this.
Okay, hold on for a second. Let me just open the file that you sent, so I will have my script. Okay. So we're done with the part full mock test. Please hold on. All right. I'm gonna start. What's your name? Sorry, Millie.
Yes.
All right. So we're done with the mock test, Millie. Well done on completing your mock test. So how do you feel about the test?
Nervous.
You're quite nervous. I see.
Yes.
Mhm. What part did you find more difficult? Would it be part 1, part 2, or part number 3?
For me, it will be part 3.
Part 3. Okay, so well, let's focus how to improve your answers in part number 3. In part 3, we talk about a time when some people near you made a lot of noise, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna try to access that. You can see my screen if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let's try to have your answers earlier. Hold on for a second. Let me just access them. So part number 3, and then let's click teaching material, I guess. All right, so it's part 3. Okay, a time when some people near you made a lot of noise. Well, here are your answers. As you can see here, the first question is, what kinds of places should be noise-free, right?
Hmm?
Yeah, that's the first question. And your answer is, I think places like school, church should be not noisy because people should internal something, right?
Yes.
All right, so thank you for your effort to answer that question. But when it comes to part 3, what do you think? Would it be longer than part 1 or not? Or it will be the same?
Maybe the same. I'm not sure.
All right, thank you. But like what we have learned, or you're going to learn later on, part 3 is longer. And
Oh, I
you
see.
should answer lengthy as well. Well, right now, let me just check your answer. You said here, I think places like school, church. All right, that's your answer. We're going to have your improved answer for that. All right, let me just check it out. Improved answer. And then let me try to make it bigger. I guess this is how to make it bigger. Okay, you can see my screen, right? So when it comes to your answer, we can say it like this. We can start by saying, I think places, which is good. All right, but the other word for places, what do you think? What are the other word for places, Millie?
Hmm,
Let's try to improve your
hold on.
vocabulary. Hmm.
Other words aside from places.
Hmm.
I cannot think of other word.
No worries.
Sorry.
Maybe we can try to use the word destinations, locations,
Location.
what else? Areas and spots, right?
Yes.
Right. And then, well, you said I think. That's a good one. But to make it less common, right? Maybe you can start by saying, as for me, right? Okay. And then we're going to use the method called point, reason, example, conclusion, or the PRAC. But let me just correct your answer here. Maybe you can start by saying, as for me, all right, I think. Okay, I mean, you can add that, sorry, or I guess. The other word for us, I think, would be I guessed. From my point of view, maybe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. We can try to use that. From my point of view, okay. Um, all right, and then which word would you like to use aside from places?
Maybe we could use locations.
I think
Or,
locations like church, or the plural form for that will be churches, I guess, if I, right? Or maybe, sorry, church. We're just gonna put and. All right, like yeah, maybe you can use the word church. All right, school. Since we did not put and, we're gonna put the word and, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and church should. You said be not, but we can use the word not be, right? Should not be noisy. All right. What's the other word for noisy? Maybe we can also paraphrase that one.
Loud.
All right, we can use that, or we can use the word rowdy. That's the other word
Mhm.
for noisy, right? Okay, yeah, I'm correct. We can use the word churches and then schools, right? Schools and churches should not be rowdy, right? Because you said, um, you mentioned a reason. People should internal something. What do you mean by that? Internal something.
Like in church they have like mass, and then in school, of course,
Sorry, one more time, please.
in church sometimes they have mass, right? Or the church service.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then in school, like the the students are studying, something like that. They're
All
doing
right.
something.
So internal something. Maybe we can use the word, yeah, or maybe internalize something, right? We can try to use that
Mhm.
word. Mhm. Okay, so well, that is your answer. That's a good one, but for today, all right, I just want to tell you a method called. Let me just try to use this one. Point, reason, example. Can you see that? Point, reason, example.
Yes.
Okay, first is we're gonna talk about point. Whenever you're giving your point, you can try to use the following words or phrases here, right? So for example, we're gonna give your point. Um, we're gonna try to choose from here. Can you choose one when you're giving your opinion?
Well, I guess.
Well, I guess, yeah, we already used that one, so maybe we can use the word, well, I guess. All right. And then you're going to give your point or mainly your answer. But I guess whenever we are giving our point, we need to paraphrase. And then we already mentioned that. You said, I think, locations like schools and churches should not be rowdy, right? So this is
Mhm.
your point. All right. This is your point. Okay. So let me just put it here. And that is your point. Let me just put the point, right? And then after that, we're going to give your reason. Okay, I guess whenever you're giving a reason, you can give at least more than one in part number 3. And here are the details here. Reason, right?
Mhm.
So these are the examples whenever you're giving a reason. Which one would you like to use? Mainly because, this is because, the main reason is, or what?
Maybe this is because.
This is because. All right, so what's your reason? This is because you said that people should internalize something, right?
Yes.
So in what occasions we usually internalize something? That is in during mass, right? But let me just give one reason. So maybe you said that this is because. After that, you can put some what they call discourse markers. All right.
Mhm.
So whenever, or we called it as well connectives, right?
Mhm.
So what are those examples of connectives and discourse markers? Do you know these words? Discourse
No.
markers and connectives. All right, so these are the words that we use to combine or add information. Maybe you can try to use the word on the one hand or on the other hand.
Mhm.
All right, or maybe you can also try to use the words such as for one thing or for another thing, right?
Mhm.
So in that way, you will have a better, um, let's say, score. Let's say this is because, which one would you like to use? On the other hand, on the one hand, or for
On
one
the
thing?
other hand.
Right, right. Let's use the word on the one hand. That's your first reason. You're going to give your first reason. You said here, people should internalize something, right?
Yes.
All right, there you go. After giving your, okay, so after saying your reason, you can add more, right? Why should they internalize something? What is, for example, in churches, what's the atmosphere there?
It should be quiet,
All
noise
right,
free.
that's correct. This is because on the one hand, people should internalize something, um, on churches, or or maybe you can say on this. Other word for locate, or let's say places, would be areas, right? Or on these spots, maybe, right?
Mhm.
hmm So because you said it is what? Noise free, right? All right, there
Yes.
you go. That's a good one. Or maybe you can try to use some words such as the atmosphere. Like you can try to use the other word for noise free. Hold on for a second. The other word for noise free would be serene or tranquil, right? Then maybe you can
Yes.
add the word atmosphere. All right, so that's the other word for that. Maybe we can replace that, and then maybe we can say because it has what kind of atmosphere?
Tranquil.
Maybe we can use that one, tranquil atmosphere. All right, this is because on the one hand, people should internalize something. Sorry, there's a grammatical error here. We should use the word in, all right, because it's a closed space. Because it has a tranquil atmosphere. Okay, sorry for the spelling. Okay, now what's your other reason for that one? We're gonna use the word on the other hand. On the other hand, what's the other reason?
Mm, I don't think of any other reason, but yeah.
What will happen if some places or those places are noisy? What will happen to the listeners? Are they gonna understand what they're listening to or not?
No.
So what will be the other reason?
They couldn't focus.
All right, there you go. So on the other hand, we couldn't focus. All right.
Mhm.
Sorry. We said that, or maybe we can say that in these places we can focus more, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So on the other hand, we can focus All right, and maybe you can use the word concentrate, right?
Yes.
All right, more in this areas. Mhm. All right. So now, after that, you will give an example, right? So these are the example. So you can try to use the following words. For example, for instance, to give an example. Can you try? Which one would you like to use when you're giving an example?
For instance.
For instance, yeah, that's quite less common than just saying example. So we can try to use the word for instance, and then we can give examples already. So let me just put it like this. For instance, all right, whenever you're giving example, you can also talk about the past or what happened in the past. All right, but it should be in general way. So do you have an example here?
I
Or we
cannot think
already
of.
give, or we already
Yeah.
give churches and schools, right? Yeah, maybe you can talk about the mass that you mentioned earlier, right? Can you
Yes.
try to mention that? For instance,
For instance, the mass is, how to say that?
maybe, yeah, the mass is. Mhm.
Ongoing.
All right. What is a mass? How would you give definition to mass?
Maybe church service or mass service.
Mhm. Yeah, and then this is the time when they worship their God, right?
Yes.
All right. So the mass, which is a time when they worship. All right. They worship God. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So sorry for that. Yeah. For instance, the mass, which is the time when they worship God, it usually held in churches, right? Am I
Yes.
correct? Hmm.
Hmm.
All right, in churches. Okay. What's the reason for that? Sorry. Hmm. So yeah, that's just our example. For instance, the mass, which is the time when they worship God, is usually heard in churches, right? What's the reason? Maybe we can say to give respect, right?
Yes.
Hmm. All right. Usually held in churches to show respect. All right. Mhm. Okay. So, well, that is for your example. And then for conclusion, um, okay, whenever you're giving your conclusion, it can be sometimes your recommendation. All right. It can also be your feelings towards the topic. Mhm. For example, you can talk about the government, right? All right. So, how's the churches in your place? Would you like to improve something or something like that, or not?
No.
No. Okay. Because in conclusion, you can also use the word "I hope," and then you can talk about the churches itself. All right. Or maybe you can just talk about your feelings. Hmm. All right. But for conclusion here, it's only optional. You can try to use the following. Can you please read or choose one here?
Uh, this is pretty much.
All right. This is pretty much all I can think of right now, right?
Yes.
So that will be your answer. All right. So you're going to give your point, wherein your goal is to paraphrase and to put some discourse marker, and then followed by two reason, wherein your goal here is to add some discourse markers as well. And then the last one, giving example. All right. And then last one, your conclusion. Can you try to read your answer again, please? What kinds of places should be noise free?
Um, well, I think locations like schools and churches should not be rowdy. This is because, on the one hand, people should internalize something in these spots. After all, it has a tranquil atmosphere. On the other hand, we can focus and concentrate more on these areas. For instance, the Mass, which is the time when they worship God, it is usually held in churches to show respect. Well, this is pretty much all I can think of right now.
All right, so that is how you will use PR easy in part number 3.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Teacher JR. Well done. You're ready for for your demo. I don't have much time. 8 minutes. I have 8 minutes. So Teacher Millie, Teacher Sheila, do you
Yes po.
think you will be ready for your demo too, or you wanna have like few, like a day or two to check the files and the system navigation? By the
Uh,
way, the other PDF file is about system navigation. Whatever it is that I showed it to you,
mm,
that's basically what's in there, right? So, but before we schedule your demo, we can also do a Q&A just like with Teacher JR in case you have some questions.
okay.
Okay, but we need to schedule it because there will be a lot of teachers who will do the demo. So I need to get more or less the date that you will do it. Let's start with you, Teacher JR.
Okay, DM. When will be my demo?
Yeah, when?
Uh, I will have my demo today.
No, um, not today because it takes some time because I
Mm.
need to ask the GC and then I'll pair you with an evaluator
Oh, sure.
who
No
are
worries.
usually Filipinos too.
Okay, DM.
Teacher Joanne, can you give me a moment while I finish up?
Sure po, DM.
Uh, Teacher Joanne, are you
Yes.
free? Are you free on Thursday?
What time po?
Thursday. Wait, Wednesday, Thursday. No, I have a meeting pala on Thursday. Friday pala, sorry. Friday, 2 p.m.
Yes, but I can free my time on that.
Okay. I also need to re-enter because my time remaining is 6. I have 6 minutes left. So do you mind to re-enter my booth, Teacher Joanne, at
Yes po, no worries po.
4, what do you think, 4:15 or 4:30?
Let's have it 4:30 po since I need also to charge my phone.
Okay, I'll see you 4:30.
See you, DM.
Okay. Okay, Teacher JR,
Yes, DM.
to use the PREC method as a mind map, not to just read. I usually, because if you ask them to read, as is kung ano yung tinype mo. Pero if you prompt them to use the PREC as a mind map, point, reason, example, they can add more, basically.
I
And
see.
then, if you still have time, di ba 20 to 25 minutes, maybe you still have time, go for another one.
Okay, understand.
Okay. And then, I think medyo nagkakaroon ng, from the, remember that first you need to correct the answer. Huwag ka muna mag-upgrade. Correction lang.
Mm.
Pagkatapos nun, what's the reason why you are recommending the method? And then teach the method, then upgrade together with the original answer. Para hindi redundant. Yeah, may mga parts na redundant. Kasi nung nagko-correct ka ng answer, nag-upgrade ka na. Huwag muna. Yeah? Okay, so when's your demo, dear?
I guess I already watched the video that you sent, Miss Marie, for a couple of times. So I guess tomorrow would be okay.
Tomorrow. Okay. What time will you be available?
Um,
Window of availability.